Dímelo, 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 dímelo. What's going on, everybody? Muchísimas gracias por estar aquí. Thank you for your attention. LTX Quest. I'm beyond excited to have the honor to be here with you. And I just want to say thank you. Muchísimas gracias por tu tiempo. You could have been anywhere, but right now you decided to invest in you. You decided to give me your time, and I promise and I pray and I guarantee that you're going to leave here feeling elevated, lifted, feeling inspired, and just wanting to own and live your best life and your legacy. So before I get started, I think I should actually, introduce myself, right? My name is Arnulfo Jose Ramos, but in the music industry, I'm known as AJ El Callejero Ramos. I'm a product of an immigrant. I had the honor and privilege to be raised Salvadoreño. That's right, 503 Central America, Pupusa gang, we're here. And I had the honor to live here in the United States and be born and to be a product of an immigrant. My family crossed 2 borders to get to this country. And like I always say, mami, te quiero mucho. Si estás viendo este video, sos mi motivación y sos mi inspiración. So where did I get the AJ El Callejero Ramos? Why don't I tell you a little bit about my journey in my career, and then we'll get into some gems and some points. Thank you once again for being here. And I'm so happy that you're taking this time. I started my music career 16 years ago, Univision Radio. I worked Univision for 7 years, where I helped launch the first reggaeton radio station in the United States, La Calle 105.9, hence El Callejero. I started at the bottom, from intern to street team to promotion to marketing to sales to on-air personality to cleaning the bathrooms to giving out flyers to bringing the radio jocks food. I did it all. Why? Passion and purpose over position. And you better be taking notes from here. You never know who's watching. And when you're out there putting this work in, there's always someone that's going to be watching you. And all these decisions that are made about your career are going to be with you outside the room. So this is why it's so important, ladies and gentlemen, that you treat the janitor like the CEO, and you treat everyone with respect. And if you can help somebody, help them. You feel me? You with me? Cool? Capiche. So I worked in Univision for 5 years, and I went over to Las Vegas for 2 years, where I did on-air full-time radio. After my 7 years in radio, this is where I call it the 3-year marathon, ladies and gentlemen. Listen, me, you, and Beyonce, we all had the same 24 hours, and busy is a choice, but how much do you want it? So in this 3-year marathon, I had the honor to work at SBS, where I was an on-air personality for 93.1 Amor and also for Mega 97.9, but I was also the marketing and promotion director. And while that was going on, right, I also traveled to Washington, D.C. on Saturdays to work for CBS Radio because I wanted to continue to pursue this passion on being on the radio. While that was happening, I was also the morning show host at Sirius XM Caliente. I was working close hand-to-hand with Don Omar on his internet radio station. On Fridays, I would do a little freelance work for Telemundo, Acceso Total, on my Ryan Seacrest vibe. All this while pursuing my master's degree. Busy is a choice, and we all have the same 24 hours, ladies and gentlemen. My motivation is my mother and my family, and success is making sure that they're okay, and that was my fire and my drive. I graduated from Rutgers, Newark with a Bachelor's of Science in Criminal Justice, Journalism, and Media Studies, and like how I just mentioned, I just got my Master's in Communication. That was 10 years in terrestrial and satellite radio. Year 10, I had the opportunity and the privilege to be the first U.S. Latin music team hire for Spotify. Where there, I ran programming and focused on the genres of urban, tropical, and Christian. I always say passion and purpose over position, and I did it all, from artist services to artist relations to cultural partnerships to negotiations to hosting their first ever original content podcast to working on their biggest playlist and creating their biggest playlist. In addition to that, to producing, negotiating, and hosting their first ever concert in Chicago with Bad Bunny, Daddy Yankee, just to name a few. It's all about how much passion and purpose you put in the work that you're doing. And don't ever let a title dictate who you are. You are who you want to be, right? I'm going to be throwing gems while I'm speaking in this journey. So bear with me, and thank you once again for your time. After my 14 years in the music industry, I had the opportunity where I am now for 2 years. I am the head of artist relations Latin for Google and YouTube, and I am the global lead of culture for Google's Latinx ERG. And last year, I became the youngest Latin Billboard Power player. Beautiful things, right, ladies and gentlemen? Like, I'm feeling myself, right? But guess what? I still suffer from imposter syndrome. And this is the first topic that I want to talk to you about, ladies and gentlemen. You need to change your story. It's passion and purpose over position. You have to understand that you have the power to be who you want to be, but you have to change your story. You deserve to be in that room. You deserve to have that position. You deserve that job. Is it going to be easy? Absolutely not, because the paradox of progress, how it works is the closer you are, the farther you feel, but you have to keep digging. And till this day, I'm still battling imposter syndrome, but I made a choice 2 months ago to say, I deserve to be here. And to all my young leaders and future execs and power players and movers and shakers, everyone out there trying to provide for their family and live their best life, you need to own it, and you deserve to be in the room. Latin is pop culture. Latin is general market. Okay? Are you with me? Second talking point I want to speak about is leadership. Leadership isn't about flexing your authority. It's about empowering people. And in my 16 years of career, I probably had one position of a global lead and one position of a manager, but I've always been a leader. Why have I been a leader? Because I'm always empowering others. I'm always helping others. I'm always grabbing them. I'm always making sure that I support. And I never in my life have allowed a title or a position to define who I am and what legacy I want to bring in this world. And we all need to be leaders to create this generational wealth for our culture, to pay it forward. And this is why I love to be in these conversations and to have this time with you, ladies and gentlemen, because I want you to learn from my mistakes, that you are amazing, you are great, but if you don't respect yourself, no one else will. And it all begins internally. And this is where I talk about personal growth. 16 years of my career, ladies and gentlemen, I've been hustling and bustling. I've been grinding. I've been putting in this work from intern to president, working 20 hours a day, sleeping in a car, you name it. I did it to get where I am now. But it's crazy how sometimes you can get stuck in a hamster wheel because you're so used to serving and serving and serving and serving and serving and putting on for people. But how about you? What about you? Are you serving yourself? And this is why it's so important as to personal growth that you work on a routine and that before you serve the world, you serve yourself. Mental health is wealth and inner peace is the new millionaire, ladies and gentlemen. So make sure that you're taking care of yourself. Make sure that you're sharpening your saw spiritually, physically, mentally, and socially. Before you serve the world, serve you. There has to be balance. I used to think, yo, I'm asleep when I die. I don't think like that anymore. I want to make sure I get my 6 to 8 hours of sleep. I want to make sure that I'm balancing my mental health, because in order for me to be efficient and to succeed and to execute and to do what I need to do, I got to be right mentally and spiritually. You know what I'm saying? So make sure that you have this balance. I get it. There's a lot of pressure, especially in these unprecedented times, but you also have to live your life. You can't focus on this destinational success. You have to want to be more instead of wanting more. And speaking about personal growth, something that has gotten me to where I'm at now, ladies and gentlemen, you're a brand, and your brand is part of your business. You're a brand within a brand. And if you don't invest and focus time on you, and if you don't spend the X amount of hours of making sure that you're growing personally, that you're reading, you're learning new things, you're catching up to what's happening in our culture, and you're trying to innovate and be a couple steps ahead, how are you going to grow and glow? How are you going to elevate? You need to work on you. And speaking about elevating, sometimes you need to separate. You need to separate to elevate. You need to make sure that you're curating your circle and the energy and the people that are around you and the people that are dreaming. It's all in you. You have the power. The universe will provide for you, but you need to understand that you are a brand and you need to work on your brand, and that's how more blessings will come. Spend hours putting in that work, but also spend hours putting in that work for yourself internally so you can continue to grow and be smarter and adapt. Corporate development, one of my favorite topics. You know, imposter syndrome is real. Throughout my 16 years of my career, I've always felt that I've had to put more work than everybody else, to a point that I caught myself in this vicious hamster wheel. And how about my corporate development? Ladies and gentlemen, it's important that if you have a manager, that you're speaking to their managers at least once a month. Ladies and gentlemen, it's important that you're putting enough time to learn how to grow within your company, or better yet, learn how to grow as a person and you continue to grow as a brand. Last but not least, ladies and gentlemen, positive intelligence. They don't teach you this in high school or in grammar school, but it's so important to manage your emotions, to make sure that you understand that situations will always happen. Things will always happen, but it's how you react to these situations and how you try to find 3 solutions for each situation that's going to allow you to continue to grow and to adapt. The adaptability quotient is as important as the intellectual quotient. AQ and IQ, they're both important. And that's how I've learned to navigate through different times. And empathy, ladies and gentlemen, we're all human, we're all breathing, we all deserve respect, and you never know what your friend, your coworker, your peer is going through. So just have empathy, be nice, check in on people, make sure everyone is right. And that's how you continue to grow and build your relationships, because it's not always wanting. You also have to give, because your network is your net worth. And everyone who's watching right now, we are all leaders. And before I go, I'd love to share a couple of books that have helped me in my journey, in different moments that have shed light. You better be writing this down, ladies and gentlemen. And thank you once again for being here. Nothing but love and grace. Who Moved My Cheese by Dr. Spencer Johnson. Before 5 a.m., Robin Sharma. Make It Happen from Intern to President, Kevin Liles. Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell. Ego is the Enemy. It sure is. Ryan Holiday. Start with Why. Simon Sinek. And before I go, ladies and gentlemen, I always say that words are powerful and words are ways how we communicate and express ourselves, but also how we feel internally. I want to leave you with these words in a sentence. May this season bring you crazy faith. That faith that you once had when you were a child, when you believed every single dream and that you were able to be who you wanted to be. Mindfulness in the form of being present right here with me, breathing happily and not worrying about the past or the future and just being here in the present. Inner peace, like I mentioned, is a new millionaire, making sure no one has the power to mess with your peace, because passion and purpose and peace are key. And growth, as to living your best life and trying to do whatever your heart desires. And if someone doesn't understand, it's okay, because you're going to do what you want and you're going to live your life. Thank you for your time, ladies and gentlemen. My name is AJ Callejero Ramos, here to serve. God bless, be good, be great, and live your life with confidence. Peace.